Recording in progress.
Am I here? Okay. Welcome, everyone. I'm opening this public session before the board moves into closed session to see if there's any public comment. And I'm going to pause for just a minute because one time I closed out too quickly and heard about it the next day. So let me just wait a little bit longer.
Closed session that happened?
For this part.
Somebody had to come for closing and
Yeah. They're like supposedly within that minute. And we had already left. So we might need to just go a little slower. Doesn't happen very often.
maybe in the future, we should ask if people want to make it to email Laura, so we know. If they're not going to show up in person, to email
That's a good idea.
that they want to make a comment, so we
It's a good idea.
look for them.
Okay, I think I have paused long enough. So thank you. And the board will move into closed session and we will re-adjourn at 6 o'clock, right? Sorry for the delay. We are ready to call this meeting to order. So thank you for being here. Just a couple of things to note. If you would like to speak during our meeting, there are several opportunities to do that. We will have time for items that are not on the agenda. If you would like to speak and you're in our live audience, we have cards on that table and you just turn them in to Laura, who's on the end. If you're part of our Zoom audience, you would raise your hand and I will call on you. So that's for items not on our agenda. During our various agenda items, we will also look for community comments and we do like to hear from you. So with that, can I have a roll call, please?
Student trustee Rodriguez Velasco. Student trustee Swaminathan. I believe she is on.
Here.
Trustee Thompson.
Here.
Trustee Stevenson.
Here.
Trustee Sarver.
Here.
Vice President Ginn.
Here.
President Dubois.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you for that. Next item, and if you're following our agenda, we're on item 5, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Moved.
I'll second.
And we just wanted to make one point that we're going to move superintendent's comments up to the front because one of our colleagues had a great suggestion to play an exciting video. And we'd like to do that while the room is filled. So we'll make that one change on the agenda if that's okay. All right. So can I have a motion to approve with that one change?
I give a motion to approve
So
the change.
Chris already mentioned.
Oh, he already motioned?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
sorry, I didn't hear that.
Motion from Chris and a second from, sorry,
Al.
trustee Thompson and trustee Sarver.
All right, all in favor?
Good evening, everyone. So we are so excited this evening. I am excited as superintendent to stand in partnership with San Mateo County, Redwood City together in the United Week Against Hate, Unite Against Hate Week. We have been very fortunate to have our partnership and also to speak and stand against any form of hate. And so as superintendent of Sequoia Union High School District and in partnership with Redwood City Together, I stand with our students, our staff, families, and community members against hate. So through equity, inclusivity, and as well as kindness and patience, our district is continuously working to build supportive and empathetic school communities to stand together in support of this county effort. We have posted signage at our school sites, encouraged student voice across the district, and a video, which you will see this evening as part of my report, produced by Redwood City Together, will show and reflect the voices of all of our students and staff, and also our partners throughout the community who all stand together around saying that we will not tolerate hate in any form. And so in addition to that, because of our work and the wonderful support from our board members, I'm going to turn it over to Trustee Ginn, who is going to share with us a wonderful surprise that was awarded to our district board for their effort.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Williams. So Sequoia Union High School District is a member of the Redwood City Together Collaborative that includes, I may miss some, but the elementary school district, the high school district, the community, the county health, the Sequoia Healthcare District, a group from Stanford. They've got sponsorship from Facebook. Who am I forgetting? The city of Redwood City is the sponsoring organization. And that collaborative put together this video and other things around United Against Hate Week. And on Monday, Carrie and I attended the Redwood City Council meeting where they presented Redwood City Together with a proclamation recognizing United Against Hate Week, and we were there to receive it. So I'll be giving this to Dr. Williams to keep in the district office wherever is most appropriate. And I just want to share with the board that they so recognized us as for our participation in United Against Hate Week.
And when you see the video, you'll understand why we're given this proclamation. Extra exciting.
So we're excited for our board. So let's all give our board of trustees a big round of applause for their efforts. And leading the way and giving us direction in terms of remaining to create conditions for all of our students and staff members to get along well and for us to respect difference and also to embrace the wonderful cultures that we bring together because it makes us all stronger as a district. And so for that, we are truly grateful. Video ready.
Hi, I'm Derek Wolfgram, Library Director for Redwood City. I stand united against hate because a community where everyone feels included and welcomed and like they belong is a stronger, happier, healthier community.
Hi, I'm Jackie Campos from Redwood City Parks and Rec, and I stand united against hate because I believe everyone deserves respect and kindness.
I stand united against hate because I want to manifest a world where we could be in community and have fun together.
Clement, and I stand against hate because everyone deserves to be treated kindly and with grace.
Sequoia High School staff stand united against hate. Estamos unidos contra el odio.
Hi, my name is Rafael Amendaño, Executive Director of Redwood City Together. I love to listen, learn, and respect from my community, and I stand united against hate.
Hi, my name is Maricruz Aguilar, and I am with the Karen program. Here, together, we stand against hate because it is the right thing to do.
Y yo soy José Luis Aguirre, también con el programa Caron, y nos oponemos a cualquier tipo de odio porque estamos en contra de la violencia.
We the Redwood City Together promotores stand united against hate.
Soy Eber Rodríguez, miembro del concejal de North Fair Oaks y fundador de la alianza comunitaria Enfoca. Te saludo y te invito a que te unas a mí para rechazar el odio en North Fair Oaks y Redwood City. Somos una comunidad diversa, todos merecemos equidad y respeto, y todos debemos ser inclusivos para realizar nuestros sueños como miembros de una gran familia.
A hate-free Redwood City looks like a wonderful, loving community.
A hate-free Redwood City looks like acceptance.
I stand against hate because it's the right thing to do.
I stand against hate because everyone deserves to be respected.
I stand against hate because it brings people down and makes them think less of themselves.
I stand against hate because it divides the people, and as a people, we're better as one.
I stand against hate because it leads to physical violence and we lose people we care about.
I stand against hate because all it does is bring more hate.
I stand against hate because it makes people unhappy.
We stand against hate because we're all human.
I stand against hate because I want the world to be inclusive.
Spread the love, not the hate.
I stand against hate because it's wrong and it negatively affects people.
I stand up against hate so our community can come together and change for the better.
I stand against hate because
I want to treat others the way I want to be treated.
I stand against hate because
it prevents us from progressing.
I stand up against hate because I have a little sister and I want her to feel protected in this community.
we stand against hate
Because we want to reduce negativity in our society.
we stand against hate because we want everyone to feel great.
We stand against hate because we want people to feel safe, included, and welcome.
We stand against hate because we want our siblings with special needs to grow up in an accepting society.
I stand against hate because I believe in making the world a more positive place.
We stand against hate to make a safer community.
I stand against hate because it is the wrong thing to do and it hurts people's feelings.
I stand against hate because
I want to live in a world where people aren't discriminated against.
I stand against hate so the world will have a better future.
I stand against hate because I want my community to be safe and cool. I stand against hate because I want school to be a safe environment for everyone.
So thank you for that. Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. She saw that video and she was so excited. She said, we have to play that at the beginning of our board meeting. So thank you for the suggestion. Really wonderful. Okay, moving on with our agenda. We are now on item 6, the report out on closed session, and I have nothing to report. The board took no action.
To the chair, excuse me, I just want to note that student trustee Swaminathan is now on Zoom.
Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know that. Item 7, approval of the consent agenda. For those of you who are new to our meetings, this is where we accept items on one motion. So it's where we have contracts and various other things. So we will not be discussing each item. The board will go ahead and vote.
Can I pull an agenda item?
Absolutely.
7.4.
And I would like to pull 7.10.
Okay, anything else? And I don't see any public comments on the consent. So can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda without 7.4 and 7.10?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Student trustee Rodriguez Velasquez.
Yes.
Student trustee Swaminathan.
Yes.
Trustee Thompson.
Yes.
Trustee Stevenson.
Yes.
Trustee Sarver.
Yes.
Vice President Ginn.
Yes.
President Dubois.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. 7.4.
I wanted to note on 7.4, just how pleased I was to see a number of field trips going to do college tours with Avid and other programs. And just, I know we have a community college initiative, which we are very excited about, but I also am so excited that some of the students are actually going to the college sites. I met a number of students who have didn't really know their options during COVID because we just couldn't do field trips. And so I'm happy to see that and our investment in that. I know that not only do we help people sign up, do financial aid, and we're doing so many visual stuff that is led by Ms. Hanson with some of the new projects that you're doing. But I just wanted to emphasize this because I don't think people really know this, that we actually take our kids on college tours. So just wanted to emphasize that and take a page out of Trustee Sarver's book of really acknowledging and highlighting the work that we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And then Ellen,
Should we vote on that one?
or we can do both together. You want to do them separately?
7.10, also not very controversial. This is the contract with Performance Fact Incorporated for LCAP services. At our last meeting, we got a wonderful in-depth presentation about the LCAP process and how much focus there is going to be on greater community engagement, greater transparency, streamlining, more effectiveness in the work, continuing to build the momentum of this very effective guiding tool for us. And I was pleased to see the contract with Performance Fact in this packet, detailing exactly how they will be helping ensure that the process meets all of those great goals that were outlined last time. So we very often bury a lot of simple, straightforward contracts and things in consent, so we don't take too much time with it. But I think it's important to acknowledge and recognize that these are the concrete steps that move us forward in this intent. And I'm pleased to see it. And with that, I would be happy to move approval for 7.4 and 7.10.
Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay. All in favor? Okay, those two items are approved. Great. Now we move on to number 8, special recognition.
I'm back. All right, good evening once again. And so this is, again, one of our favorite parts of our meeting is where we get to recognize and honor the greatness within our district and also the partners that have supported us throughout the years to support our students, our mission to provide a quality education for all of our students and also to uplift our families and to address the social and emotional needs of all parties within Sequoia Union High School District. And so this evening, we are going to start off with one of our wonderful schools, Tide Academy. And we're going to have our principal come forward. Ms. Kino. Give her a big round of applause. All right.
Good evening. I'm thrilled to be here this evening with 4 amazing Tide seniors who are being recognized as members, one of the first graduating class. Woo! And please give their families who are all here this evening a hand as well. They're the pioneers at Tide. So I'm recognizing these students for being amazing ambassadors for the school. As you know, recruiting students to Tide is one of our main priorities and goals. Doris, Emily, Alma, and Lucy are Tide seniors who exemplify that dedication as ambassadors. So as members, again, of this first graduating class, they've inspired and informed prospective Tide students, supporting and dedicating their time. They've contributed ideas, participated in information night panels, led school tours, hosted shadows, and imparted some of the best wisdom I've heard about Tide and high school in general. So I'd like to highlight a brief accomplishment of each one. Doris, she's here, has led tours, participated on panels, excuse me, hosted shadows, and traveled with us to recruitment events at partner middle schools. Last spring, when we were able to actually go to a recruitment event in person sponsored by the Redwood City Boys and Girls Club, excuse me, Doris came to speak and wowed parents that were in the room. When we schedule shadows to see our career tech ed classes, Doris comes to the office to meet them and escort them to the class. She's also taken the lead to speak to them about Tide during flex time, committing her time to many sessions and prospective students. Thank you, Doris. Emily, wait. So Emily's next. She's participated on information night panels, was interviewed for our recruitment video, and has committed her time to meet with shadows during flex time as well. She's highlighted her dual credit and concurrent enrollment experiences, clubs and activities students can propose, and her love for all things calculus with Mr. K, a favorite math teacher. In fact, she and Doris are a tag team comedic pair when facilitating conversations with our shadows. Thank you to Emily. Alma has led tours, participated also on info nights, hosted shadows. One afternoon, she was in the Tide office as a tour for families was wrapping up. 4 prospective students who had come to Tide on their own for a tour started talking to her and her experiences. The following week, she joined myself and our 9th grade counselor, Ms. Sue, at a Tide tabling event during lunch at Cesar Chavez Ravenswood Middle School, where she told 8th grade students why they should come to Tide. At this event, the students she'd met in our office the previous week signed up to shadow and requested that Alma be their host. So let's give Alma a great clap. Lucy gets the word out about Tide in the community. Several shadows request her to be their host, and when she hosts a shadow, we get feedback that the student loved their day at Tide. I mean, we get feedback when they have other hosts, but for some reason, people feel like they got to tell us about Lucy as well. Like Doris and Emily, she also volunteers to speak to shadows during flex time. Instead of having shadows sit at tables to hear from our seniors, Lucy's idea was to have the shadows sit in a circle because she felt it was more friendly and intimate to talk to students about Tide and answer their questions. She imparts why she loves her school and all of the experiences she has gained. Dear Lucy. So thank you for listening. These remarkable students have been great Tide ambassadors since they started as 9th graders and through the pivots and changes with distance learning and the return to school. This year, they are a big part of the reason for the buzz about Tide in our community. Their dedication to Tide will have an impact far beyond the 4 years that they will have spent at the school. Doris, Emily, Alma, and Lucy, thank you for navigating the wave that has been Tide and for the gifts you are going to impart to future Tide students. It is indeed a pleasure to present the certificate of recognition. The Sequoia Union High School District Board of Trustees proudly recognizes each of you for your excellence, hard work, and contributions as a student leader at Tide Academy in the Sequoia Union High School District. Thank you so much. Thank you. And so we need to also continue in terms of acknowledgement. I'm going to ask our Associate Superintendent, Ms. Hanson, to come forward. We really take pride in terms of our relationships with the community. And there's always an individual that stands out among the rest. And so this evening, our hearts are heavy, yet we are full of pride as we do want to recognize one of our very own community members who has served as such a support and a light for Sequoia Union High School District for many years.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Before I move to recognizing Peter the Great, Just a comment that if you look at all of the parents and siblings in the audience, you can see that the fruit did not fall far from the tree. We have Jenny Rutherford, Parent Volunteer of the Year, Lucy's mom. And then we've got 3 other student rock stars surrounded by family. So many thanks to all of you, and thank you for choosing our district. You make us go round. And speaking of people who make us go round, tonight we are recognizing the late and great Peter Fortinbras, longtime Boys and Girls Club of the Peninsula CEO. Died on Friday, October 7th, surrounded by his family in Palo Alto, California. Peter was a larger-than-life figure who focused his remarkable passion, experience, and energy on making the community a better place for all kids to grow up, and he will be deeply missed. Peter was a Silicon Valley nonprofit pioneer and chief community builder who mobilized thousands around the mission to support students and families in the lowest income neighborhoods of San Mateo County. Under Peter's 20 years of leadership, BGCP experienced extraordinary growth. They went from serving 400 students annually to serving 3,500, from 4 sites to 24 sites, from 30 staff to 290, from 50 volunteers to 1,100 volunteers, and the annual budget grew from 2 million to 28 million. I had the pleasure of serving on his board, and I got to watch him equally at home on all 4s during a pre-kindergarten summer program with kindergartners in the Ravenswood School District playing marbles, as he was giving a tour of his facility to Lauren Jobs, who afterwards gave a large donation, as everyone always did after a Peter tour. He was a well-heeled man. He was a Harvard graduate. He was definitely a person of means. I would call him the best dressed nonprofit leader on the peninsula, but he was someone who very much lived that to whom much is given, much is expected. And he chose to walk away from a very successful career in business and dedicate his life to making sure that all of the kids in our communities had opportunities and happy experiences. He was the reason that there was always a place to be until bedtime, a warm meal, and something fun and meaningful to do during the summer. In our district, he provided summer programs where buses would pick kids up at the end of summer school and take them to the Boys and Girls Club, where they would have college-going experiences and incentive field trips and dinner, and then stay where they were until it was safe to go back home to houses that were with parents. He provided after-school programs. He provided college-going programs, and some of our most successful students, adults from the Ravenswood and Redwood City school districts, were a part of his clubhouses. When COVID happened, they were the first nonprofit to reopen their doors. They were serving meals to thousands in their community mere weeks after shelter in place became an order. And they did pods of students from our own district in their clubhouses during the pandemic. I will miss his yearly call, "What can I do for you this year?" And I remain grateful that I know I'll get it from the many people that he trained to follow in his footsteps. So representing him here this night is the very impressive Sequoia High School graduate, Esme Ortiz, who is the Vice President of High School and Post-Secondary Programs. And she is one of hundreds of examples of the sorts of young people, now adults, who he has fed into our community. Peter, on your favorite night of the year, as he liked to say, Youth of the Year, and my husband walked in the room. I know none of this stuff because I'm not in that world. My husband walked in the room, looked around the cocktail party ahead of time, and he said, "There's a lot of money in this room." So as someone who could get everybody to turn out on a school night to raise hundreds of $1,000s on behalf of kids in his own clubhouse, he never wanted to hold this event anywhere else. He will be so missed by us. So Esme, a plaque is coming, but would you come say a few words on his behalf?
To follow that, Bonnie, I think you you captured in a very comprehensive way a lot of what Peter stood for, did for the community. And
I think the only thing I really want to add is something that Peter talked to a lot of us about. I had the pleasure of working much more closely with him in the last 5 years. And Peter always talked about how time is our most precious asset. And that every day we make a decision about how we choose to spend our time. And Peter talked about how he couldn't think of a better way of how to spend his time than with Team BGCP. And that he led a really fulfilled life, lived with purpose, and driving forward our mission at Boys and Girls Club. And without doubt, he impacted so many students and so many families in his 20 years of service, and so many staff. And we also know that the best way to continue to honor Peter's memory and his legacy is to continue to drive our mission forward. And he talked about one of his most brilliant moves was ensuring that he set us up for success in the last year, and he truly did. We haven't missed a beat thanks to his plan, and we're excited to continue to partner deeply with Sequoia Union and to continue to center student success, much like he did in his 20 years of service. And on behalf of Team BGCP, I just want to thank you all for acknowledging Peter tonight and acknowledging his service. And thank you for the time.
I'd like to add a couple of words. Often on the board, when we're talking about the great structure of the district and the services that we deliver to students and our core mission, we come to the recognition that the partners we work with are so essential to our success and to the ability to serve the youth as they need and as they deserve. And we have been blessed with a huge array of great quality partners in the educational effort, but none of them is as essential, as fundamental, and as comprehensive a partner as the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Peninsula. And over the 13 years I've spent on the board, I was continuously amazed to watch the growth, the development, the commitment, the precise accuracy with which that partner meshed with us in meeting the needs of our students. And it often felt that it was the second external heart of the school district. And Peter was always the heart of that heart, the brains of that heart. He was a man on an incredible mission who focused his life energies on serving the youth in remarkable ways that made a difference. And that organization under his leadership has made an unimaginable difference in the outcomes of the youth in our community. And we never are able to express enough our gratitude and appreciation for that organization and for what Peter has meant to it. And I thank you for your great words indicating how well he had done the job of building the organization to last and thrive beyond his time. And his legacy will live on in the great service, the great value that will continue to come from this partnership. We will miss him deeply, and we will continue to appreciate the legacy he's left behind. Thank you, Peter.
Okay, Anton. Yes, we have one more.
One more. And so thank you so very much. I know that was difficult for you, Bonnie, but we appreciate you and thank you for the kind words. And also thank you, Peter, for your service. we will continue to cherish your legacy. All right. Moving to our next person, we are going to highlight one of our very own adult school teachers who's very, very special, Jim Golding. And we're going to have our principal of our director of our adult school, Ms. Tatiana Roganova.
Thank you. Just wanted to say that I'm so sorry I didn't have a chance to meet Peter. Seems like there are so many amazing people in this school district, and I'm here to introduce one of them. This is Jim Golding, an outstanding teacher at Sequoia Adult School. He has been serving at SAS for 21 years. And it is remarkable because the teachers at SAS are not permanent. They are all temporary. And although officially Jim is a temporary teacher, to us at SAS, he is as permanent as one can be. In real world, Jim is a full-time job, has a full-time job as an accountant. 2 nights a week, he puts on a magic cape and undergoes a transformation into a superhero. Because only a superhero can teach a literacy level ESL. It is truly a labor of love. Due to his advanced instructional strategies, combined with some wizardry, I suspect, Jim's students progress quickly and do well on assessments. According to my observations, his students are always engaged in learning. They are either involved in a group project, or practicing conversation, playing games. Jim is exceptionally gifted in making students feel comfortable and maintaining a positive atmosphere. He teaches with expertise, enthusiasm, and passion. Our superhero is a great candidate to be recognized by the superintendent and the board. Jim and his wife, Lily, who is present today, enjoy wine tasting events. I hope that the recognition award is accompanied by a gift certificate to the local winery. Jim Golding.
Thank you so much. It's unexpected, but greatly appreciated recognition. I was not expecting this at all. I've always wanted to be a teacher, so I've had teaching in my heart ever since I can remember. But I got involved with this accounting stuff and started doing that for about 40 years now. But teaching has always been in my heart. So when I was asked to be a teacher at Sequoia Adult School, I went and got my credential and have been there ever since. So it's been a nonstop function that I really enjoy doing. It's the highlight of my week, the 2 nights a week that I teach, and I've been teaching for over 20 some years. It's just been a highlight, and I appreciate all the students that have come through our school. And what I appreciate most is after they finish my class, they move on to a couple other levels. They're able to speak to me fluently in English. I appreciate that, and that's due to our school and the great accomplishments and characteristics of our teachers and the supportive staff that we have. Again, thank you so much.
So here we have certificate of recognition. The Sequoia Union High School District Board of Trustees proudly recognizes Jim Golding for your tremendous work and effort in supporting, developing, and inspiring the students of Sequoia Adult School and the Sequoia Union High School District. Thank you. Very much.
Thank you very much. Wow, very exciting night of recognition. Okay, now we are on item 9, student trustee comments.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Yeah, I hope this week has been a good one. Students are facing a lot of new threats to the safety and effectiveness of their learning over these past many years. And we had a thoughtful, engaging meeting with the SAC at our second meeting this past week, where we discussed different aspects of college and career readiness, as this was our umbrella topic and a great point of interest for Samantha and I. And recently, students at Woodside had to be in an active lockdown while they were trying to complete the PSAT. And students were rightfully shaken and worried that they did not perform well. So students are currently trying to figure out how they can retake the PSAT and make up that score. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But while discussing this topic, many members of the SAC mentioned that they weren't actually aware of the lockdown protocol as it stands. They brought up that they would like to review it and understand the decision-making behind each step in the process and just get to understand it better so they feel more in control in stressful situations that might come up. And we also veered into talking about the barricading and what that will look like. Students were wondering what barricading even means, how it's done successfully, and what roles they are meant to play during an active situation like that. And so students are aware of these drills and they've taken part in them, but they aren't sure what part they're meant to play and what that will be like in a stressful situation, which again, no one can really predict, but just wanting to have more control over something that is so scary and so uncertain. And I think it's very important that perhaps people who know more about that could come to a meeting with the SAC members so we could help define what those protocols are for students to understand, what barricading is, and answer any other questions that students might have about these processes, since this will help students feel a little bit more of a sense of security. So yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone has been well and is looking forward to the home stretch of this year. Last week we had our second SAC meeting. Avantika and I worked on structuring our process more finely and developing a consensus on areas of interest for our members. Upon providing them a summary of our previous meeting and surveying them using a Google form, on participation and interest areas, they came with some really, really great ideas for our discussion. We unpacked college and career readiness and the support students feel they need. School support is most definitely valued, but can be scarce at times. Each year, our comprehensive school site counselors work with seniors in the fall and then move to scheduling in the spring. Our members pointed out that it is difficult to reserve time with a counselor and attempt to build a relationship, especially during the fall. We of course posed questions about potential solutions for this and found that having referential resources available could help students in case they do not have access to their counselor. I mentioned that middle college often has slide decks and links. Although the program is college and career based, we still have a dedicated time for that. And some of our members agreed that this could be useful. One member's recommendation was to be provided with a timeline or checklist for when certain classes need to be taken or information to be gathered about career goals or goals after high school. I would recommend that we explore the adaptation and what we use in middle college. Well, we have a class called advisory and we have a Canvas shell that we use that has all of that information. So using that as a repository for information, rather than introducing a completely new platform could be useful, as well as having that checklist or that repository, both about graduation and college and career readiness and translated into other languages. This way parents have access to the information as well and can discuss it with their students. We hope to anticipate having some of them come to the school board meetings alongside us with a more concrete plan for change. Our younger members also recommended that To understand future goals, students could have access to profiles of students or sample students who have graduated to see what their process was like. There was a stress on having students understand what they're investing their time in. We asked our members to really attempt to go out to their schools and survey their peers and bring ideas and opinions back to us. Overall, we had an extremely productive and enlightening discussion, and it made both Avantika and I very excited to be able to represent them here today. In the future, we would like to meet more often and survey the SAC so that we can create as active of a group as possible. Students generated ideas with student support is powerful, especially when braced by the board. And so I would also like to thank the board for the efforts to prioritize our voices. We're so excited to dive deep into these ideas. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now comments from Sequoia District Teachers Association.
I finally figured out that when you guys are speaking, if I move to this side of the room, I don't have to run out in front of everyone. So this, I was informed by my children at home that November is the best school month of the year. Because in San Francisco, it means you get Veterans Day off and then a short week for conferences and then Thanksgiving week off, and there's hardly any school. So as a teacher, I'm so proud. For teachers, November can be the most challenging of months. It is the point at which many of our students realize that the coasting they have been doing and sort of getting ankle deep and then maybe shin deep, they're now maybe knee deep in water and it's getting scary. And there's only a few weeks to try to get back up on top of the wave. I'm using your wave metaphor there. So this is a challenging time for teachers, definitely. And we are looking forward to the break next week to be with families and recharge for the last push towards the end of the semester. And I know that teachers are working hard tonight to get progress report grades in so that everybody is aware of what needs to happen before December 22nd. We in SDTA have been working on improving our engagement with our members. We're engaging in some equity, diversity, and inclusion conversations of our own, looking at our practices and how we can improve so that we can better represent the voices of all our members. Some of our folks have gone through organization trainings, and we're going to be doing more of that after the holiday. We are very excited that Prop W passed. Congratulations to everyone involved in that. And we're looking forward. We're not looking forward to the construction, but we're looking forward to the aftermath and what we will be able to provide to our students. And we are also very excited that we have come to the end of our open enrollment period for benefits. It was a super huge lift. And we want to thank everyone in the district and everyone that the district contracted with to help us out to get through that. It was very difficult, and people worked really hard and people got really stressed out, and it's all going to be better, and we'll all have health care in the new year and be excited about it. So thank you all for that as well.
Thank you for your comments. Now, is there anybody here from the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees? Nope. Okay. All right. Now moving on to public comment. And again, this is for items that are not on the agenda. There is one person with their hand up, a couple of people. So I'll call Datis first. And I wonder if that was an accidental raise because that was up for such a long time.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
I
hello.
didn't see your last name. Can you say it for me? I didn't want to mispronounce it.
Yeah, all good. It's Hogugi, HoghooghI.
Thank you.
And I actually was told that the best place to go for so I'm part of the Middle Eastern group of students club at Menlo Atherton, and part of what we wanted to do was to do a charity event for a charity that focuses on rehabilitating abused women in light of the Iranian protests that are currently going on. And I was told that if I wanted to do like a charity event for our club by raising money for the charity, we had to get the charities approved through this event right here. And then I have another ask for on behalf of the robotics team at Menlo Atherton. Was wondering if I could do that here.
So yes, I think somebody gave you probably the wrong advice. Is it okay if I answer how he would do it?
Oh yeah, it's just like general advice of how I would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can reach out to Crystal Leach in the district office. Or yeah, cleach@seq.org.
Okay.
And so just our public meetings kind of run in what appears to be an unusual way if you're here for the first time or when people are often observing. So we can't comment on something not on the agenda. And
Okay.
usually approval works in a different way. So yeah. And also you can contact your principal. Or
Okay.
this is confusing any of us, contact tomorrow and we will direct you to the right person if you have any trouble. So all of our emails are on the district website under Board of Trustees. So thank you for speaking. Thank you for waiting so long. And we
All
will
good.
get
Thank
to
you.
the right person. Thank you. Okay, next speaker, Carol Ann Coleman.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. My internet's a little slow, so I apologize for the delay. My name is Carol Ann Coleman, teacher, parent, just love you guys to pieces. And I appreciate all the gratitude and loveliness you bestowed upon all the lovely people and Peter the Great. Thank you so much. It's just a love letter to you guys. Thank you for supporting the United Against Hate. The video was gorgeous. Thank you for showing the video on the very beginning of this meeting, because I think it really uplifted many, many people that needed to be uplifted this evening. I wanted to give a shout out to whoever is in charge of the technology part of the Sequoia website. It was so easy for me to find the link to this board meeting. And usually it takes me about 30 minutes to find you. But whoever is responsible for that, I just give them lots of love and thank you. I love the word manifest. Someone used that in the video. Congratulations to the Tide seniors. Caron is an amazing thing. I'm so glad that you put that in the video as well. The ease and flow again of the website has been really helpful for me as a teacher who's 57 years old now. And I'm glad that there's someone that still thinks of our older generation because we're not all tech savvy. So I appreciate that. And then the last thing I wanted to say is it was just happenstance. I was at a Halloween store and I had a conversation with a Woodside student. I'm a Sequoia High School teacher. And he did express to me the stress that he had when he took the PSAT at Woodside. He said he felt safe with a police officer in the room, but he didn't quite know what to do and he wasn't sure how he was going to do on the PSAT. So he was asking me as a special educator, is it his educational right to request to take it again? And I encouraged him, first of all, his feelings, and said, you must have been really scared. And he said, I was. So let's just take a pause and in the midst of, we're still in a pandemic and we need to just cradle our kids, even though they look like adults. They're still our children. And anything we can do to support them, I think it's really clear that we just need to listen. Again, I love you guys and I love these students.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate you. Okay, moving on. We are now on item 14, discussion item, first reading of administrative regulation 6158, independent study.
Thank you, President Dubois and Superintendent Dr. Williams and members of the board. I think that this is just going to be a pretty clear clarifier, but I've been wrong before. So basically, if you look at the way that our regulation 6158 is worded, it's a little bit confusing. If you go to the second page of the document under number 5, what I've done is I'll just read you the whole line item. The duration of the independent study agreement, including the beginning and ending dates for the students' participation in independent study under the agreement with a maximum of 1 school year, was very confusing to some folks because it looks like it was saying you can only be in independent study for 1 year. And that is not the intent of that legislation. The intent of the legislation is we need to revisit whether or not this is still an appropriate placement for you every academic year. So we've updated the verbiage to read instead, the agreement must be reviewed and updated each school year the student is part of the independent study program. And then that similar language comes again on page 4.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Good clarification.
And I trust it'll come back on consent next time.
Is that right? Yeah. Yes. Thank you very much. This might be a really short board meeting. I need to slow this down.
All right.
Okay,
And then
item 14.2.
Yeah, sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
So the next one that is before you this evening is, in short, a change in the number of units that an adult student must acquire to graduate with an adult school diploma. I am so grateful that Tatiana is here this evening to answer any additional questions you might have. But this recommendation, which is being put before all of the adults, well, all of the school districts, high school districts in our county with an adult school program, they are all suggesting the same number of 150 units. It is as you've become all too familiar with, California 130 high school graduation requirements with an additional 20 added on top of that. And just really quickly, this is a statewide movement. They're not all choosing for it to be the same number of units, but I wanted to read off the ones in our local area that have already made this move. Representing the other side of the bridge at 140 units, we have Castro Valley, Hayward, San Leandro, New Haven, Pleasanton, and Piedmont adult schools. And then one county up from us, we have got at 145 units for graduation, Campbell, Milpitas, Santa Clara, and Silicon Valley adult schools.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Alan?
I'll just share a little bit of what I shared with Bonnie in an email earlier. It's, first of all, I'm in complete agreement with the wisdom of this change and being in alignment on this matter with so many other school districts. And I think that, it really reflects the movement toward mastery and standards-based work that we're doing, that we're really looking at what the students need and benefit from at this level of their education. And it really is going to conform better to them achieving what they need at this stage of their education and being ready to move on to the next stage. And in reading it, I was really struck by how wide open of a gap there was in our policy, that none of this had been stated explicitly. there was, we were referring to district standards, but actually in practice using Redwood High School standards, and none of it was made explicit anywhere in the board policy. This is now accurate and detailed and going to give us true guidance. And I think it's not only an appropriate correction of direction, but it is now expressing the vision and the need effectively. And I think we're going to end up with something now that is much more effective policy for us. So I appreciate that.
Chris?
I asked this of you. Are there implications for the delivery of courses and curriculum?
I am going to, in a second, refer to Tatiana to make sure that I don't miss any of this. In short, of course, it means that students basically need fewer elective classes. So as far as your staffing, Tatiana, I'm not sure if you have anything you want to say about that. Come on up. But I think that the question on the table is, what does this do to the structure of who's hired at adult school and the classes on the ground that kids are taking? So now that I need 150 instead of 200 credits to graduate, how does that change the master schedule?
Correct. I thank you for the question. I think we're going to get more students who would apply, and those students who wanted to get high school equivalency exam probably will switch more to high school diploma, because it will be more accessible for them. The high school equivalency exam is very challenging. So we would expect a shift from high school equivalency program into high school diploma. But all our high school diploma students are using Edgenuity. So it is an online program. So I don't see a huge impact on the curriculum. They will continue using the same curriculum with like fewer electives. You have a question?
I don't know if I'm going to say the question right. You have the HSE, which is the high school equivalent, and then you have the high school degree, correct?
Correct.
Diploma, sorry.
Yes.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm just going to say it. I don't want to devalue either one of them, but is one of them a greater value than the other, or are they equivalent? Like when people see those, and GED is not the high school equivalent, correct?
You have not met the APG requirements, you get your chip.
You
Well,
get-
actually, you haven't necessarily get your high school diploma either.
Okay. Say that again, please. I
You
apologize.
want me to take this? I'm sorry, I
Yes,
butted in.
please. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So as Tatiana just shared, the passing of the HSD is no small feat. It's very, very difficult.
Okay.
So your question is, which is held in higher esteem, the high school diploma or the HSD? And I would say it doesn't necessarily make a difference. It only makes a difference when you pass the HSD, you have not met the requirements to apply to an A through G.
Okay.
If you get a high school diploma, you have not necessarily met the requirements to have for A through G, but you may well have. So it's not so much the high school diploma or the HSD as it is UCA through G versus not.
So maybe we want people to have more of the high school diploma rather than the HSC.
No, not unless, well, yes, during high school, before they turn 18, like the hope is that every kid will graduate with their high school diploma. But once they've turned 18, does it make a big difference in their opportunities, whether it's the HSD or the high school diploma? I would say no, unless with the high school diploma, they have met A through G requirements.
Okay. Because I hear in the community sometimes when people are trying to get their GED, which is different than what you're talking about, correct? They've had a hard time. So the people I end up working with are probably over the age of 29 or 30, and they're coming back to finish things. So
I'm going to say that anybody who only has a high school degree, unless they've go into, become an electrician, become a plumber, go on for further training, has a very hard time in our current market.
Okay. All righty. Because I was just trying to figure out would this help that process? Thank you.
Oh, Cindy just walked in. She's our assistant director at Sequoia Adult School. She knows about this program a little more. So if you have any additional information, what is more valuable for students when they graduate? What is the difference between getting a high school diploma or HSE? What will be more valuable for them in real life? So that was the question. You have any information about that in your experience?
Sure. Well, we always say, that both are going to lead you to more opportunities in terms of college access, employer, employees looking at your completion of diploma or getting an equivalency certificate. And so we see both as being equally valuable. One of the things with this proposition of getting 150 credits is that we're just trying to build more access. For some students, it is a lot more accessible for them to finish a diploma because of the platform in which the diploma program operates, and where students are completing assignments through Edgenuity and getting support from teachers versus some of the more structured, direct instruction that the high school equivalency program is designed for. And these are the same designs across adult schools where there's the options to take classes through the diploma program or direct instruction through the high school equivalency program. So with the reduction in the credits, we want to create more access for students that can take the classes online and receive support from teachers along the way. Thank you. Sure. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm just curious, for students who complete either of those, does that have any implications for community college and then for ability to go to a 4-year after that? Or like with this change, will students potentially just go to community college sooner? Or if you could speak to that?
Yes, that's the hope is, once you have your diploma or equivalency, that you head on into community college, and with the being able to access a diploma with less credits needed, then getting to the community college would be faster.
And then even without A through G high school, from the community college, they could go to 4-year.
Correct, because you kind of have a clean slate
Yeah,
in the community college, yes.
Anything else? Thank you very much. Good. All right. This board meeting is
I would also follow up on Chris's comment on the past one. I think, I hope this will be coming back on consent as well.
We don't need to say that, I think, right? Yeah. It always does. It has to come back, right? To be approved.
I think it's sort of a signal that there's unanimous board support for it and no additional conversation needed. That's all.
Right. Thank you for that. Okay. So now we are on to Board of Trustee and Superintendent comments. Do you have anything that you wanted to say, Dr. Williams?
Just wanted to say that I had a awesome school site visit. I've been going around and engaging our staff in lunch with the superintendent. And so it's given me an opportunity to hear about some of the pride points within our district and some of the changes that are happening, not necessarily changes, but the enhancement to things that have already worked well. And then also to have conversation about opportunities to refine some of our practices when it comes to attendance, when it also comes to recruitment and also retention. And it's just been a joy to have these conversations in a free space where teachers and staff members can support the superintendent and be supported by the superintendent. And also they can ask hard questions. So it's really been a learning experience. I think a two-way conversation that is eventually going to end up in more growth for us together as a district. In addition, I was able to visit a class at, two classes at Middle Atherton and had a wonderful experience engaging and learning with our students. We visited Carol Ann Coleman's classroom. And when I tell you, when we talk about mental health and how do you infuse strategies to support students within a lesson, masterfully done. And so I had
Abby Corman, right?
Abby Corman.
Abby
I'm
Corman's
sorry.
class.
Abby Corman's class. I'm sorry. Abby Corman's class, but it was just masterfully done. And I just want to say thank you for modeling that type of intentionality and also being deliberate and helping our students and making them feel welcome and engaging them in a wonderful, rigorous lesson. So, thank you.
Thank you for that. I was on that school trip, and it was really, really wonderful. And we talked about, again, doing our board tours where we're all together and can see the same things. So hopefully we'll be doing that next year. So I have a couple things to say. Simone, I'm glad you're here. I am mentoring a kid at Tide. And it's really so wonderful. Last year I was mentoring over Zoom, and that was hard. I was mentoring two boys. They, with their masks on and sometimes their cameras off. I don't think much mentoring happened. So this year it's a girl who's a junior, and there was an icebreaker of what we had in common. Oh my gosh. She's like a mini me, which will scare all of you guys, I know. She's into baking cakes. Her favorite food is my food. It was so easy. But more importantly, she's so excited about her school, right? So, and the room was just a buzz with professionals from our community, and it was just loud in there, with such exciting conversations. So, Simone, thank you for what you're doing at that school, and I'm excited to be mentoring this year. Also wanted to mention for the second year as part of United Against Hate Week, close your ears, you heard this 3 times, Rich. We had the teddy bear tea again at the Redwood City Public Library. And this year we were able to do it inside, and COVID restrictions have lifted a bit. So we were actually able to have scones and teddy bear cookies. And the idea for this event is to mix people up from different neighborhoods. So we invite mostly people from North Fair Oaks and then other neighborhoods in Redwood City, and we put them at tables and we're building teddy bears. And boy, the way people bond, I mean, it's just a magical event. And what does that have to do with high school? I think it has a lot to do with high school, to get people to know each other from other communities. And it was just really a wonderful, wonderful day. And so again, I'm so proud of Redwood City Together and the many, many events they do for Welcoming Week, for United Against Hate. And I'm glad our district is supporting all of that effort. I also wanted to say something about the 4 candidates that ran for a seat on our board. All of us have been candidates. It's really hard. It's difficult to put yourself out there. It's exhausting. But I want to thank all 4 candidates, for the conversations they had, for the conversations they brought to us and will bring to us. I'm grateful to all 4. I wish they were on the line tonight, but I think I've told them each individually how much I appreciate all of their hard work and their commitment and passion for the staff members and the students of this district. So thank you. Anybody else? Oh, sorry, Shawnee's.
Thank you, President Dubois. I wanted to kind of give a highlight of what's been happening the last couple of weeks with me, and trying to stay connected to our district. I had a conversation with a teacher around the Health Academy, which I was really excited about, and learned a little bit more around Sequoia and its purpose. And hopefully we'll be invited to their cert graduation or some of the activities that they're doing there. There's been, I don't know how you all do it, but I couldn't get around everybody in one year. So I have a wait list of people who I'm talking to first. And so I was really excited that the teacher reached back out to me and said, okay, we're going to connect. And I said, great. So that was a good conversation in the midst of trying to do Thanksgiving distribution. So I was able to talk a few minutes around that. I also talked to a parent. I'm glad Simone is here, our principal, Simone, about Tide. I think there's a sophomore. I think the person is a sophomore, and this parent said they're doing some amazing things there. They wish they had football or something like that, but other than that, they love Tide. And I want to, from a community perspective, as a person who lives in the community and lives near that school, and some of the concerns when I started on the board 2 years ago, it's not the same concerns. So whatever you're doing, I'm not hearing those things anymore. And leadership matters. Leadership and care matters, I would say. So thank you for that. I also talked with another parent regarding some folks. It's interesting in my role, people call me about transitioning to the high school district as if I'm in the front office and learning all about the processes. But these meetings are wonderful because I get to hear a lot. So I did have a couple of parents around special education call because their kids are transitioning to the high school, and a lot of the fears around care because of the vulnerability of some of the health issues with the kids, and do people really care about my kids? All the things that parents are highlighted with when your child has specific special needs, that's more special day related. And so any information people can provide me, I'm trying to speak to the availability of what's not availability because it's all in IEP, but what's available, who to talk to, those kinds of things, because that is what parents are coming to me in my constituents area is really, they want me to do an orientation about the school district. And I think that tells me that families are learning more. When I first ran for this position, people didn't even know what Sequoia was, some of them. So now they're calling me because they know it's for the high school kids. They just may not know all the schools. So I'm excited about that is starting to shift. So I'm pointing them to the wonderful website. When you click on things, it goes there. It's easier to find and it's pretty. So I'm excited about that. I also went to the annual government representative meeting where some of the districts come together and talk about some of the changes with redistricting and things of that sort at the San Mateo County Office of Ed. I don't know if I said this last time, but I did go to the Sequoia Adult District, Sequoia Adult School. Tatiana had invited me to the student advisory group, and that was wonderful. That was the most active student advisor I had seen. I was like, she's really good at facilitating. So I'm a facilitator myself, so I'm always impressed when I see good facilitation. So thank you for that. Learned a lot about what students want and what would make things better. The last thing is, what am I going to be doing over the next couple of weeks? I'll be going to Gateway. I'm so excited because I didn't go on that trip with y'all, but I finally got my own trip so I can go see Gateway. Was it Hillview? I think it is. So I'm excited about that. I'm also excited to go to the Dream Dinner. That's going to be on Friday. And going to CSBA. I'm really, really excited. The first time I didn't know what I was doing and where I was and who and talking to all people. So now I feel like a little bit more seasoned. So I feel like I kind of know where everything is now. So excited about that. And the last thing that I'm going to do is try to get around to some plays. I like musicals and plays. I didn't go to any football games this year. I just couldn't. But the plays I will. The last thing that I wanted to underscore is the student comments around safety at the school. What do I do? And I shared this with you, Dr. Williams, that I was going to underscore this, that I actually think we need to think about an active shooter training at our school site. When I was at a different employer, there were some things that happened down south at a different organization that was very similar to mine. And we started working on active shooter training, just like tornadoes, just like earthquakes and all kinds of stuff. We do that as well. Not because our schools are not safe, but more so we can't control what's on the outside of our schools. And I do think it's important in those trainings, they talk about barricades, they talk about the why, they talk about biases around what's safe and what's not safe, what neighborhoods are, what neighborhoods aren't. We actually had a police officer come and do the training. And it was actually pretty interesting because it brought awareness around safety. As a social worker, I'm always trained in safety, physical safety, emotional safety, those kinds of things. So I can only feel for the schools. And I just remember former student trustee Stid cry last year regarding memories of being the lockdown a few years ago. So I think it's just at that time we give people their power back. I'm all about giving you your power back and want to underscore that. And I'm not quite sure how we do that. I don't know if we put it on the agenda or if you will follow up. I'm better this year, 2 years in. I'm just going to ask our superintendent, what's the next step? Do they get it on the agenda and we support them to get it vote on the agenda, or will you follow up? Like, what does that look like? So with the idea of safety, it's been on my heart, and I actually prayed about this, that I think safety is going to become more of an issue around our climate and kind of what I'm starting to see in the community, not necessarily in schools, but in outside of schools. Given some of the incidents that have happened in Redwood City, that has something to do with our possible students, some that are not, and just wanting us to prelude and think about people's mental health and really moving towards that mental illness piece of it, and being careful with how we talk about our families, and holding the space here, or making sure certain emails are being sent to our superintendent so that we can get people to safety, especially if we start seeing behaviors in email. As a first-time superintendent, trustee, I'm not a superintendent thing. That's not my thing. First-time trustee. I know when I came in on COVID, and I think when Ms. Leach was interim superintendent, I had a lot of emails that I was concerned about of how people wrote things from a clinical perspective. And I think I CC'd you a lot on those emails. I'm like, I think this person needs a little support. And so I just want us to be mindful not to brush away those things. No, we don't need to do everything. We are not a mental health organization, but we need to make sure that we are caring for people's mental health with care as much as possible. So I just felt like I needed to say that as the climate is changing outside of our school, and just want to protect our students, but also our precious staff as well. Thank you.
Thank you. On.
I want to play off a couple of the things that have already been said. I do believe we continue to review our site safety plans at the board annually, and I know that they are extremely comprehensive, and there's a whole range of things in there. I do know the superintendent has reached out to the county superintendent to try and get a broad conversation going to review the Big Five safety guidelines, just in the light of the set of incidents that included Woodside on that one day, and really see how close the whole county is in really speaking the same language and having the same standards. But I definitely support the idea of ensuring that our staff and students have a good sense of what the supports and the expectations are for them in those safety plans. So I like the idea of making sure that appropriate levels of training are part of it. So I hope that conversation will go on. Couple of things that have been mentioned. I also want to thank and congratulate all four of the candidates for these board seats. It was a campaign that really focused on what's going on in the high schools and how the high schools should operate. And that is the best that you can hope for. They all brought that. And more than anything, I want to thank the voters of the county for of our school district for focusing and voting and giving us clear outcomes in those races, and for clearly supporting Measure W and ensuring that the district will have the capital funding resources to continue pursuing our facilities master plan over the coming 6 to 8 years or so. And it was extremely strange to have active opposition to that campaign. And I'm glad that the voters in our district continue to see the value and the importance of economically supporting the schools so that they can deliver quality education to our students. And then finally, to return to something that both Carrie and Shanice raised, one of the great areas in which our district really does bring together students of diverse backgrounds and really allow them to come together in pursuit of creative work is both in athletics and in performing arts. And this is the season of the first semester when those really come to the fore and become the place where our schools interact with our community most heavily. This Friday, we've got a great double dip opportunity. The Dream Club dinner is at 6 o'clock at Sequoia. And I'm very much looking forward to that. Starting at 7 o'clock, immediately adjacent to that building will be Sequoia's second round football playoff game. They were the one school in the district that won their game, a 51-50 double overtime beyond thriller. So I think that everybody can expect great entertainment value out of taking advantage of both parts of that double feature. I'm very much looking forward to it. And then across so many of our campuses, all of them in one way or another, there are huge performing arts opportunities coming up over these next couple of weeks. We've got plays, we've got musicals, we've got choir concerts, we've got instrumental concerts, we've got dance programs going on everywhere. And you know, I've got tickets to a bunch, and I'm going to try and drop in on several others. But the quality of the work and the entertainment value that our students provide to their classmates, to the school community, and to the broader community is just tremendous. So I hope everybody will find a way to get to several different events coming up.
I think it's pretty much all been said. The only thing I want to repeat is the gratitude to live in a community that supports its public schools, where we have competitive races for school board positions, not true most places, and a community that regularly financially supports our schools. And so for passing Measure W, and to all the volunteers who really made that happen. Thank you.
And Crystal, I think you worked a little hard on that. Rich?
So I'll share, Alan and I had a call with the CSB advocates regarding the special ed code changes that we're interested in advocating for. And I believe the next step is they're trying to set up meetings, including some legislatures and other school districts that have shared interests, just to give the board the update on that. More as we learn more. And second, I'll just say that as the chairperson of the Las Amitas Bond Oversight Committee, it can be quite rewarding for former board members who help pass bonds to be on the Bond Oversight Committee. Something you guys could both consider.
Okay. And on
for
that
board
note,
members to be on this, be on
do
our
I have a
bond committee.
motion to adjourn?
I have a question. I
okay.
just want to clarify, because I did ask, how was the process of getting back to the students around some of the safety stuff? So I just want a clarification.
So I do meet with them regularly and they're part of my advisory committee. So we are in conversation about the issues that were raised. And so we did raise them and discuss them. And so I will get back to them within our next discussion. But is it, for clarity for me, is it the direction of the board that you'd like to have an update, or what exactly is the request?
I guess what I'm wondering is like, how are we going to deal with safety at the school? I know one recommendation was to review the safety site plans. And that's great to have plans, but like, this is a little different. Is the active shooter piece of it and making sure our kids are safe. I hear, what are we supposed to do? And I don't know how long that takes. Because I would hate for a year to pass and we haven't done some type of training or.
Yeah, so we have done the Big Five training with our staff and our school leaders as well. And so what we'll do is we'll take it back to our principal council and we'll have conversation. I'll provide an update during the weekly board update.
Okay.
Okay,
Is that training typically just for staff or is that for students as well?
it's for staff and students.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
And make a motion to adjourn.
Yes, thank you. In a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Meeting is adjourned.